name is Mary Dinah. I'm the CEO of Mary Dinah Foundation, and it's a non-governmental organization that has been in existence now for 20 years. We started in 2005, and we operate in northeast of Nigeria as well as Lagos, far north Cameroon, and the Lac province of Chad as well as the borders of Sudan, helping women and children affected by conflict and terrorism, and usually experiencing undernutrition and food insecurity. I started the foundation quite early on. I had just left school in the UK, and I was working. I'm a hotelier. My background is in hotel management, so I was working with the Marriott Hotel Group in East London, in Canary Wharf. I then discovered that there were some women not more than a mile away from where I lived and where the hotel was. And many of them were addicted to strong drugs, substances, and homeless, and they were street workers. And I thought there has to be something to be done to help them. So I partnered with a charity then called Door of Hope, and that was how my humanitarian journey started. And so there isn't much of an origin story per se. It's just a story of someone who always wanted to help people that were less privileged. And so I came back to Nigeria, and I was frequently, coming to Lagos, and I discovered the women at Kirikiri prison. Kirikiri is one of the most notorious prisons in Nigeria. When I got to the prison, I realized that their living conditions were not suitable. Even though they're prisoners, I always felt that, it's not fair, this isn't the way the accommodation should be, and especially with my hospitality background. So we supported them with new mattresses, we renovated the accommodations, and I actually have a picture of myself. I remember that day, driving into Kirikiri with like 2 trucks filled with mattresses, and my heart was just so happy to help these women. From there, we started Nigeria's first ever physical job center called Job Link in Ikoyi, and we connected more than 10,000 women and youths to gainful employment, and we partnered with the Lagos State government. Coming into the pandemic, we connected with USAID, the US government Department of Aid, and with their support, we were able to move into the northeast of Nigeria, where I felt the need was by far the greatest, especially during the pandemic. That move expanded us from 100,000 meals a year to 5 million meals a year. Currently, we're distributing over 15 million meals every single year across Nigeria, Cameroon, Chad, and Sudan. It's important to note that the government cannot do it alone in any country, but specifically in Nigeria, though they try their best, especially the new administration is doing a whole lot for employment, but the youth unemployment and female unemployment rate is still more than 40%, and that's a very dire situation. And that was why we stepped into that industry and created Job Link, so that anyone, regardless of their background, can come and bring a physical CV or even just tell us a bit more about what they do. We create CVs for them, and then we connect them to gainful employment. And so that was how we've been developing. So with Job Link, I remember that we asked people to share their views, and the letters that would come in on a daily basis, weekly, monthly, just people saying, thank you so much, you changed my life, you helped me to get a job, and they would share their experiences with me personally of how it was being unemployed, how they need to take care of their families and themselves, and some of those letters moved me to tears. And that was why I knew that this cannot be a for-profit organization. Initially, it was meant to be that would get fees for connecting people to work. But when I got their feedback and their success stories and their thank you letters, I said this needs to be a humanitarian organization. In the northeast of Nigeria, we work very closely with women and children, not only in terms of food distribution, of course with the food, we help to prevent malnutrition, especially severe and acute malnutrition in pregnant women and babies, and this is really saving the lives of many, many women and children. But aside from that, Sahel region of Africa, including Nigeria, has one of the highest rates of maternal mortality in the world, which means that a lot of women are losing their lives while they're giving birth or shortly after. And what we do in the localities that we operate is we connect them to antenatal care, so that the baby is monitored by the hospitals, and so that they deliver their children in the hospitals as opposed to delivering it at home. Because asking an auntie or a local grandmother to help you deliver your baby is kind of what is prevalent in terms of the culture, but it's a very, very dangerous practice. And so we're making sure that they deliver their babies with skilled practitioners who can ensure the safety of both the mother and the child. We also connect children to vaccination. We've connected over 15,000 children under the age of 2 to vaccination to prevent them from getting prevalent diseases. And we do water sanitation and hygiene trainings, particularly to prevent waterborne diseases such as cholera, which is endemic in those areas.
Mary Dinah Foundation.
अरे वो खादो ना को आया का हाउ दी
We're really focused on local implementation, and that's what sets our organization apart. We're local leaders, and we use pillars in the communities to identify the people that we want to help, the beneficiaries. We talk to the local leaders, we talk to religious leaders, we talk to the government and the local government, the council. We go in the Northeast, we go door to door, house by house, identifying pregnant and breastfeeding women and babies that could be beneficiaries and recipients of the food that we're distributing. We also register them and we give them what we call ration cards and beneficiary cards. They also have their hospital cards, and we check against those monitors to make sure that we're giving only the people that are registered for those particular programs. Of course, we also make sure that those products are not diverted to activities of non-state armed groups or any other criminal activities, because these are large volumes of food, and we make sure that we prevent people that are not part of the program from encroaching into what we do. It's a very intricate program, and we have a lot of monitoring processes to ensure the safety. We do a lot of advocacy. We meet with the men, with local leaders who are senior in those communities, cultural leaders as well. And it's important for the men to get involved, because there really is no liberation in terms of gender-based violence or in terms of bullying in the home or any kind of malpractice in those villages if the men don't change. So we do a lot of advocacy with men. Though our programs are focused on women and children, we know that the change we want, of course, really depends on men changing negative behavioral practices. And so we work and encourage the men to support us. I believe in he for she. We need more male advocates and supporters and mentors for our work to be effective. Our program is very large and very intricate, very complex in terms of the logistics. Food is taken into communities that are deep, in states. And so we face a lot of challenges in making sure that everything goes smoothly and effectively. sometimes access in terms of rain and flooding. It can delay us or stop us from entering certain regions. Sometimes also other organizational issues, security delays. We're very security conscious, and so we have a lot of intel, and if we hear that a certain area isn't safe for the time being, we step back and then we reassess the situation. We always communicate with the beneficiaries so that we don't disappoint them. We have people on ground to tell them, we're so sorry, we know you've gathered here today, but give us another few hours, the food is on its way, and so on, to make sure that there's no disappointment. We also do a post-distribution monitoring survey, which means that we take feedback from the beneficiaries who received our food products, and we say, well, how did we do? What was our service like? What was the timeliness like? Did you have to wait very long? What were the queues like? How close was the distribution area to your homes? And we use that to improve our services all the time. So far, the last survey we did, we got 95% satisfaction scores, so the people are very happy with our services, yes. In the northeast of Nigeria, we work very closely with women and children, not only in terms of food distribution, of course with the food, we help to prevent malnutrition, especially severe and acute malnutrition in pregnant women and babies, and this is really saving the lives of many, many women and children. But aside from that, Sahel region of Africa, including Nigeria, has one of the highest rates of maternal mortality in the world, which means that a lot of women are losing their lives while they're giving birth or shortly after. And what we do in the localities that we operate is we connect them to antenatal care so that the baby is monitored by the hospitals and so that they deliver their children in the hospitals as opposed to delivering it at home. Because asking an auntie or a local grandmother to help you deliver your baby is kind of what is prevalent in terms of the culture, but it's a very, very dangerous practice. And so we're making sure that they deliver their babies with skilled practitioners who can ensure the safety of both the mother and the child. We also connect children to vaccination. We've connected over 15,000 children under the age of 2 to vaccination to prevent them from getting prevalent diseases. And we do water sanitation and hygiene trainings, particularly to prevent waterborne diseases such as cholera, which is endemic in those areas. The need is very much greatly needed. I remember our first day of distribution in Fune local government of Yobe State. We were expecting 3,000 beneficiaries. 2,000 of them were pregnant and breastfeeding women, and then 1,000 babies. And one of the things that was so shocking and alarming to me is on that day, more than 20,000 people turned up to receive the food that we were distributing, and it was quite chaotic actually. It was almost a stampede. But I was glad because we were prepared and we had a lot of security, and the government had also deployed volunteers to support us. But again, I was just really moved with the emotion of the number of people that needed it, and seeing what that need was like. We actually changed our distribution plan and started to distribute through hospitals, through schools, just to reduce the number of people that would come per location. But it just emphasizes the dire need for the support that we give. So far, we've been operating in Lagos, Yobe, and also across the Middle Belt parts of Kogi, Ondo State, Oyo State. So a lot of the Southwest and northeastern states. Also now we're looking to expand to the northwest, Sokaza region, Sokoto, Katsina, Zamfara, because the need there is also really high and they don't have much support in that region. We also have plans to expand to areas where we're not at the moment, such as the east and the south regions of Nigeria, more parts of the middle belt, such as Niger State. We have plans to expand there, and we have teams on ground already who are doing some reconnaissance to look at where the area is the greatest. We focus on nutrition and women and children, but I know personally from experience and from visiting those areas that a lot of people need that help there, so we will be there soon. My dad is from Ijebu in Ogun State, and my mom is from Osun State, but her family came from Niger State. So she's actually northern. She's from the Takpa tribe. Takpa and Nupe are very similar tribes across the Middle Belt. And the Middle Belt is a very interesting place. It's such a melting pot. So she's sort of half Hausa, half Yoruba. They are very proud of all the work that I'm doing for people, for humanity, and they just support me with love. Every day they tell me that they're proud of me and they love the work that I'm doing, and they're always concerned in terms of safety and security, all of these dangerous places that we go to, but they know that I'm that one person that is so focused on helping people, and yes, I would risk my own life to save the life of others, and they fully understand that, and they're very supportive. I have 3 sisters and 2 brothers, and they are also very, very supportive. They love my work, they post it all the time, they repost, they share with their friends, and that really gives me a lot of family, support that I need to keep going.
So how many staff do you have?
We employ over 200 people spread across Nigeria, Cameroon, Chad, the UK, and the US.
So how do you recruit your staff?
Yeah, recruitment is a really interesting part of leadership. For me, I always, say to my team that I have an intuition about the people that I feel, will work, for the organization. You have to have a heart for people. I look at CVs, I look at who has degrees, masters, to experience, over 10 years experience for a leadership role. So recruitment is a very important part of leadership. As we know, the people are the most important asset in any organization. In terms of our recruitment, I do look at people's CVs. I look at people that have the competency and the experience to do the job. But what's most important for me is their heart for humanity. I come from a hospitality background, and that's the service industry. And I tell my teams that all of the people that we're servicing, that we're supporting, they're what we consider VVIP. They're very important people, very important personalities. We need to make sure that there are no queues, there's no disruption, and we need to put the people first. As an organization, we're also considered hyper-local in the sense that we employ teams who are from the areas that we operate. So I really believe in employing people who are from there because they have that local learned experience. We're still employing people. Every day we're employing more people, we need more people, we need all hands on deck, and we're expanding very rapidly as an organization. We're expanding, we're adding more and more millions of meals to our operations. We recently just received a donation of 70 million meals and supplements for pregnant and lactating women. It's going to be across Cameroon and Chad, but that essentially doubles everything that we've done so far. So far, over 20 years, we've distributed 55 million meals, and we just got an addition of 70 million, taking our overall distribution to 125 million. So we're expanding rapidly, and we need as many people as possible. My advice to people, young people, who are waiting for white-collar jobs, I would say, find that one thing that you're passionate about and go for it. I started out in entrepreneurship at a very young age. I was about 22, and I actually studied entrepreneurship at Harvard University. So that helped me to learn how to write business plans and how to raise funds. But I'd say, do online courses to learn about entrepreneurship and find the passion, that thing that really moves you, that wakes you up in the morning, and go for it. But do not wait for, white-collar jobs, because it's quite difficult these days with the unemployment situation to always find the perfect job that you're looking for. I also switch back and forth a little bit. That's something that you can do. I, of course, started working after university, then I started my company, then I got a senior role, then I went back to my company, then I started the foundation. So you can crisscross, and every time you're crisscrossing higher up because you're gaining more experience while you're building your own business. So I would advise that as well. And also, while you're looking for an entrepreneurial opportunity or for a job, always be mindful of the people around you, to help your neighbor, to help the next community. And people who want to start humanitarian organizations, don't wait for big funding. I started by feeding one arm of a nursery school. I couldn't afford to feed nursery 1 and 2, so I would feed nursery 1 and nursery 1A and 1B, and then move to nursery 2. And that was how we started. And now a lot of people ask me for advice. They want to start a big organization. It's not always institutional donors that is, multi-millions of, dollars or naira. Start where you can. People will see your attitude, your love for humanity, and keep supporting you. That's how big organizations are built. And start today. Don't wait for anything. Start today.